Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I just saw Babygirl, written and directed by Helena Rain, starring Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, and Antonio Banderas. I knew exactly what this film was going to be going into it. Just by seeing the preview, I knew exactly how this film would play out from the start to the very conclusion of it. And now that it's all over, I both got that and something completely different, which I think is really interesting because this is, for all intents and purposes, a film about power. Everyone in this film, to a degree, some more than others, are craving power. They want power over others. They want power over themselves. They just want sovereignty over themselves and other things. And it's obviously a very compelling concept because it's very real. It's legitimate. And I anticipated Nicole Kidman's character, Romy, this high-powered CEO, to be the person that wants to step out of her own life and into a situation in which she no longer has to be in control. And you both get that, and you get that idea that she wants power at the same time. Those two things are intertwined so well through this script that I found myself throughout the entirety of this film going, what the fuck is happening? I tried to wrap my head around the concepts being presented to me throughout this film for an hour and 50 minutes, trying to figure out who's in control, why are they in control, what are they doing to get this power, and why are these things happening? I ultimately settled on the idea or the fact that there is no one answer. There are a multitude of conclusions that you can draw from this film, and they are all correct. I think you'd be hard-pressed to come up with some idea or theory about how or why this film is the way it is and be wrong. I think that because it's so open-ended, you get a very firm conclusion by the end of this film, but I think the fact that the script, the way that Rain writes this script and then delivers it to her viewers, leaves everything open to interpretation. I love that about films, and that is the shining star of this film. That is the best part of this film. It supersedes the acting, it supersedes the cinematography, the soundtrack, the score, everything. That is the best part. And I could just end here, give you my rating, and simply say the film is this good or the film is this bad because of that. I think it's pretty obvious that I love that aspect of the film. That is going to land me, and I'm going to give you my rating right now. This lands the film at an 8. There are other things that I did like in this film. There are other things that I did not like in this film, and they ultimately don't affect it at all. Cinematography does not affect the plot. It does not detract from the plot. It does not add to the plot. The score, as interesting as it is, the entire score, which is absent through most of the film, which is interesting, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't change my opinion of this film whatsoever. But the score is moaning. It's a series of individuals, both men and women, moaning at various points throughout this film. It plays into this idea, this game of sex that Romy and Harris Dickinson's character Samuel are playing throughout the course of the film. But again, it's not adding anything. It's not taking anything away. I think had this happened throughout the entirety of the film, had it been very score heavy, you would have gotten the same response. Had the score had gone not existed at all, and this film been completely void of a score, it would have worked exactly the same way. I find that incredibly interesting that there's so many things both that work and don't work, and it affects this film and my rating in no way whatsoever. I mean, it's a great concept, but it's a weird delivery. It's a really interesting but weird score that exists in some moments and doesn't in others, and doesn't really play into developing emotion or drama or intensity or anything. There's one really beautiful shot at the end of this film. I remember thinking to myself that this cinematography is fine. It's effective. It does its job. You see what you need to see. You don't see what you shouldn't see, and so on and so forth. It's nothing spectacular. It's not bad by any means, but there's one beautiful aerial shot at the end of this film that just floored me. And you can see this fog roll out, and it's incredible. But again, it's a 10-second shot that doesn't affect this film at all. All right? It gave me a bit of a high, but it didn't affect the film. And I'm trying so hard to figure out why aspects of this film existed outside of the narrative. It's very direct. I think the acting is good, and the acting is really the only thing that does allow the narrative to come to life in a very specific way. Harris Dickinson's body language specifically is the thing that affects it. And if anything was going to heighten my score at all, or my rating at all, it would have been Harris Dickinson's portrayal of Samuel. And I had someone in my ear last week say, I don't know if Harris Dickinson was the worst casting choice or the best casting choice. I still don't know. I played around with that idea while I watched this film. I don't know. Going back to my rating, I'm giving Babygirl an 8 out of 10. I think it's a good film. Do I think you need to run to the theater and watch it? No. Do I think you're probably going to be uncomfortable watching this with just about anyone? Yeah. Spend a little money on it, rent it, spend $3.99, $4.99, whatever you're willing to spend when you're renting movies. It's fine. I'm still really baffled at the fact that nothing other than the narrative affects this film. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but that's where I am in my own head, like a ping pong ball back and forth. And that's why I like this film so much. So, until next time, peace.